Artist interview series highlighting the voices and perspectives in the Indianapolis art community. My name is Matt Davis. We're here at Fletcher Place Arts and Books with Dr. Monday. What's going on?
Hey, nothing much, Matt. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for coming by.
You're welcome.
All right, so most people know you as John Laughlin or John Harris Laughlin, if you're familiar with you from other circles. But your stage name or your artist name is Dr. Monday. That's a really unique name. I know there's some kind of story behind that. How'd you get that name?
Back in the late 80s, there was a reggae movement, a reggae scene in Indianapolis. And I started playing keyboards for Quasar, and which later broke up and became Reaganomics. But during the Quasar days, the people in the band, we wanted to have stage names, reggae names. And so I think Tim Johnson was Kwanzaa Pops, and Keith Baptiste, he was from the islands. He taught us what reggae was, the feel and everything. Okay. He became a Mystic Man, and so I think we were down practicing in the basement and trying to figure out a name for me. And from my experience in blues, I mentioned Stormy Monday, and that Monday's always the first day of the week. It's a day people dread in all our ways.
Right.
Oh no, Monday's coming. So, and we knew in the big picture that reggae was an uplifting, conscious music, not happy, but an uplifting music. And so it became a metaphor for making Monday better. Dr. Monday gave them the reggae pill, and so their Mondays was not that blue Monday, wasn't that stormy Monday. So reggae and so that name Dr. Monday stuck with me in regard to the positive aspects of reggae music.
Okay, so you live in Fountain Square?
I moved there when I was 9 back in '52. I was born over on the west side, and now I live at Garfield Park.
Okay, and you're from Fountain Square?
Yeah, I moved here when I was 9 back in the early '50s.
Okay. So obviously, Fountain Square is much different than what it was in the 50s. And as somebody who's seen those changes, like what would have been some of the major changes that you've seen? What's it like being an artist in Fountain Square now as opposed to, any other time?
I came up listening to country music first. By knowing that the Fountain Square Tavern or the Roundup right down the street were country music bars. Then came rockabilly. Okay. Then came rock and roll. And so out of that, Fountain Square was always a place, a mecca for those types of music. And as I said, a place for the working class, because see, the Fountain Square has always been on the other side of the track. Now with what's called, some people call urban renewal, or I call the displacement of the original residents, or what some people refer to as gentrification, has happened. And so when most people came here, listened to local bands, playing local country music, and shopping locally, that's not necessarily the case here, because a lot of owners, a lot of the music, a lot of the people who listen to the music are coming from outside in, and then they leave. So you don't have that sense of ownership that was originally in the Fountain Square area.
Okay. So with that being said, how do you feel like the Indianapolis art community or the art scene can move in a more productive or collaborative direction?
I think it needs to. I'm glad you asked that question. Because you got to understand Naptown. Naptown is, of course, it's always had an art scene. But it's had a problem. See, Indianapolis to me is constantly, it's in its late adolescence constantly. It's constantly seeking an identity. It wants to be grown up so bad, like Chicago or other cities, but it can't get out of this late adolescent period where it's constantly seeking an identity, some authenticity that it could go for. And so what happens as a result of that is what I call the babyface syndrome. Now, Babyface knew he couldn't make his name here and he left town. Kurt Vonnegut knew he couldn't make his name here. He went to New York. Okay. But did Prince leave Minneapolis? No. Did Kurt Cobain leave Seattle? No, because they knew they could make a name for themselves, and they stayed there where they were from. Now, if you're still here and you got a good idea, it must not be any good, or you'd be gone.
Right.
You follow?
Yeah.
So as a result of that, you get people that say, shut up.
Right.
And they're haters. They don't support ideas. And so there's a sense of conformity. There's a sense of the middle west of America, that conformity here that keeps people from not only being who they are and wanting to be who they are, but experimenting and expressing it and think that they're getting over and by copying. And I don't think that's going to help the art scene out at all.
Okay. So is there another place that we can see your work? Because you also do visual work. You do visual work, and you also do performance art.
Well, I have a website where I'm an academic.
Okay.
I do research, and I've got papers published around the world in education. But the first Friday next year in January,
Okay.
I think that's the second, I'll have my art, graphic art, and then I'll be spitting some rhymes at the 10 Comet.
Yeah.
They're on 10th and Jefferson.
Right. And that's 2119 East 10th Street.
East 10th Street.
East 10th Street. All right. So thanks, John,
Hey, you're welcome,
for your
man.
insight and your perspective. Thanks everybody for watching. This has been Momentum. We'll see you next month. Bye.